Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Pat with Texas Freshwater Fly Fishing again, back at you with another Tuesday tie. And today we're going to be tying up the mini minnow. It's a great little fly. It's great for panfish, sunfish, you know. But I also catch a lot of bass in smaller rivers and streams on this fly. It's real versatile. You can just tie it on a lightweight rod and go have fun for the day. One of the best things about it, though, is it's super easy and quick to tie. So it's a great fly to tie. You're gonna love it. It's the mini minnow. Remember, if you're liking these videos, guys, hit that like button, share the video with everybody, and make sure you subscribe. It really helps me out. And if you want any more information on this fly or anything else, be sure you check out TexasFreshwaterFlyFishing.com. All right, thanks. Let's get to tying. All right, guys, like I said, this mini minnow is a great fly to tie. It's real easy. It's real versatile to fish too. You can change up the colors if you want, but I really like tying it in this white color pattern, maybe white and silver is what I call it. And I tie it on a size 12 nymph hook. This is a size 12 nymph hook, and for the weight, we're gonna just use a small size silver bead chain. All right. So to start off, get myself some white thread. This is a thinner diameter white thread. I'm not real picky about what thread I use, but I'm gonna lay down a nice smooth thread base here, all the way from the front of the hook back to the bend. So nice little smooth thread base. And then once I get to the bend, I'm gonna wrap nice and smooth back up. This fly doesn't have much of a body on the hook shank, so these thread wraps that you do are kind of like the body. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're not trying to make it perfectly smooth, but I do try to make a little bit kind of a smooth body with the thread here. So wrap down to the bend of the hook and then back up. And then we're gonna stop at about the 1/4 to 1/3 mark, and I'm gonna wrap in a little bump of thread. Kind of like when I'm tying a clouser minnow or something. So I got a little bump of thread there. That's where I am going to tie in my bead chain eyes. Now you can use, if you want to, some super glue here to really secure those in place, but you don't have to. Just a few wraps. Make sure they're on there straight. And then I do some circles to lock those threads in place. Okay, so once you got those eyes on there, and they're kind of where you want them to be, then I take my thread and again go back down the body, real nice and smooth. Okay, now I tie in the tail of my fly. And the tail of my fly, all I'm gonna use is kind of this crystal flash. It doesn't have to be real long, so you don't need it. I kind of just use scraps of crystal flash. And what I do is I'll fold it over a couple times to where I create basically 4 strands of crystal flash that are gonna stick out the back. And I'll go ahead and tie that in underneath the fly, or on the bottom back side of the fly here. And then I cut it, the crystal flash, about the length, maybe slightly longer than the hook that I'm using. Like this case, it's a size 12. It's pretty small, very short little fly. And then I'll take my thread and wrap neatly back up the body to just behind the eyes. All right, from here, the next thing I'm doing is kind of tying these little sides to the minnow. I have this prism holographic thread that I like to use for that. So what I'll do is I'll just cut myself a strand, cut myself a little strand of it, and double it over. And then I take it and wrap it just behind the eye. So it goes over one eye on this side of the shank and then over the other eye. So it kind of hooks on the eyes there. And then right behind the eyes, I'll just take a few wraps to wrap that in place. And then I cut that crystal flash, or not the crystal flash, the holographic prism thread. I cut it just shy of my tail. And then you can take it and you can kind of position it to where if you want it to go right down the sides of the fly. Take another wrap to keep that where I want it. Next thing I do is bring my thread to the front, in front of the bead chain eyes. And we're going to tie in what's going to be the belly of the fly here. The belly of the fly is going to be this marabou, and it gets tied in two different bunches. Two different thin, small bunches. And you don't have to be picky about what marabou you use or anything like that. So I'll just take a small bunch of marabou. The ends don't have to be perfect. You're going to end up taking those off anyway. I'll take a small bunch of marabou, and then I'm going to tie this in just in front of these bead chain eyes, right? Take a few wraps to secure it there, and then I'll go back behind the eyes, take a few wraps to secure it right behind the eyes. From there, I'll take my marabou, and being careful not to get any of my flash in there, I'm going to pinch this marabou right about where the bend of the hook is with my fingers, real tight and hard. Pinch it real good. Take your other hand and just pinch the marabou with your other hand to break it and tear it off. Okay, then you'll look at it, kind of that's about where I want it, and there's the back side of your belly of the fly. I'll take my scissors, clean up any marabou I have in front here as best I can. Bring my thread back to the front. And then I'm going to take another bunch of marabou. Usually this one I try to go a little bit thinner, even less marabou on. And again, it doesn't have to be pretty marabou. You just take a clump of it, trim it up, clean it out just a little bit. I'm going to take it. Sometimes it helps if you kind of try to smooth that marabou out a little bit. Take it, and I'm going to tie it in front of the eye again. About 5 wraps to secure that in place. This time I don't tie it behind there. That's it. That's just where I take it. I'm going to go pinch it just behind the bend of the hook again and break it off. Now I got the belly of my fly. Go ahead and clean up in front. A little bit. Take a couple more wraps to secure that in. Kind of clean things up. Rotate it over. Alright, there's that. If you got a little extra that you don't want there, just pinch it off. There's that. Now all we got to do is tie in the top of the fly, right? The back of it. And for that, I'm going to use this gray bucktail. I'm going to try to select a few pieces here. It's a real thin amount of bucktail. Guys, you want to try to get some shorter strands of it. You don't want anything too long. And you want it real sparse. So I grab myself a real sparse bunch of the bucktail. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean out all the long hairs. I don't want those. I don't want anything long. This is a real small fly I'm tying. So we got the long hairs kind of pulled out. Sparsing it out even more. Take out any fuzz or fur. And then I'm going to tie those hairs on to where those bucktails stop, about where my tail stops. Just going to take a few wraps. You don't want to wrap this bucktail in real tight, at least not at first. So take a few wraps to secure it in place. I go backwards, real loose wraps to where that bucktail meets the eye of the fly there. Real loose wraps. And then when I come back down, usually stop, clean it up. Clean up as much of that bucktail as I can. Once you're at the front, you can put a few more tighter wraps on there. And that's about it. Now we're just going to take a couple whip finishes. Cut off our thread. Get our head cement. that's it. And there it is. That's all there is to it. It's a great fly to tie, like I said. If you need more information, be sure you check out TexasFreshwaterFlyFishing.com. Like, subscribe to these videos, guys. It helps me out, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks a lot. I'll see y'all later.